Okay, good afternoon, my JSS3 students. I am Mrs. Ichara and I'm here to take you on English language revision. You know that very soon you'll be taking your NECO and WAEC after this whole pandemic is over. You will come back to the class and take on your your external exams. So let's just see what we can do before then. So today's topic is on formal letter writing. I discovered from previous experience that most students find it difficult when it comes to the part 2 of letter and essay writing in exams. Why? Most times they want to write letter, and for the fact that they are not acquainted with the features and the pattern of writing letter, especially formal letters, they find it difficult. So today let's just see what we can do on formal letter writing. At the end of this class, we should be able to explain formal letter writing, identify the features of formal letter writing, and equally write a good letter. So we ask ourselves, what is a formal letter? What is formal letter? A formal letter is a type of letter that is written to somebody who occupies an office. It's an official letter or a business letter. And it is possible you may know the individual occupying that position. But for the fact that it is a letter written, in a business pattern, you will address that person by his designated name. So that is why it is called formal. It's a business letter. It's an official letter. Excuse me. So let's write it on the board. A formal letter is a business letter, a business or official letter written to someone who occupies a position of authority or who occupies a position of office. Alright, so a formal letter is a business or official letter written to someone who occupies a position of office. Like I said earlier on, the letter is addressed to the office of that person and not to the person as an individual. So the difference between formal letter and informal letter is that formal letter is an official letter. It is written as a business letter. But an informal letter is a letter that is written to somebody who you are acquainted with, somebody who is your acquaintance, your relations, your siblings, your friends, and all that. So a formal letter is the difference between a formal and the informal letter. And they also differ in the features. The features talks about the basic things you need to know about this letter writing. There are things you need to know. It is quite different from the informal. Although there are things too that they share in common. They share a lot in common and they have little differences. So let's look at the features. Let's look at the features of a formal letter. Features of formal letter. Let's look at number 1. Number 1 is that the letter must have an address. Must have an address. It is either where it's coming from or where it's going to. So in this case, we are going to see the number 1, the sender's address, where it is coming from. Sender's address and date. And then we have number 2, the receiver's address. Receiver's address, that is where it is going to. The receiver's address, the name and the designation of the receiver. Then number 3, we have the salutation. Salutation or greeting. Then number 4, we have the title, because the formal letter must have a title. That is to say, why are you writing? What is the reason for writing? It must have a title. Number 5, we have, after the title, the introductory opening. The aim of writing. You must state your aim of writing. You must state your aim of writing. Number 6, you will have the body of the letter. This is where you answer the question. In case you are asked in an exam to write a letter, you answer the question here. The body of the letter. And then 7, you have the complimentary closing. Alright, then you have the full name, and signature. Okay, these are the features of a formal letter. This is how a formal, all these things are embedded in formal letter writing. So when you want to write a letter, you look at these features. As you look at the features, you follow them sequentially. You should not jump them, follow them the way they are listed, because you cannot put the dates here and then address here. No. If you do that, you are failing in the rules of letter writing. So what you should do is to look at the features. Which one comes first? Here on our list, we're going to do a format. Let's use this, as a model. Let's use it as format. Format of writing formal letter. Now, we talk about the sender's address. Let's believe that you are writing a letter to your principal. You asked to write a letter to the principal of the school, and probably telling the principal the things that are supposed to, the things that are supposed to come into, especially in the area of extracurricular activities, things that are supposed to be added, things that are supposed to be done in the extracurricular activity to make it lively in the school. So if you're asked to write this kind of letter, you now write your address, the sender's address. You are the one writing it, so you are the sender. So you write the address, and the address should come at the top right corner of the page, here. If you want to write your house address, you can use your house address. But if you don't want to use your house address, you can use the school address. You are in order. Let's say you live in 24, okay, let's use our school address. Unibek College. You put your comma. Make sure you punctuate appropriately. Because any letter, punctuation has its own mark. That is, it comes under mechanical accuracy, where they check your punctuations and your grammar. So you must punctuate appropriately. Unibek College. You may decide to use 25 girls. Okay, let's use the post office box, because most of you don't know our post office box. Unibek College, 11 P.O. Box 3434. Get acquainted with our post office box 3434 Port Harcourt. Rivers State. Now, why did I choose to use this? Unibek College 3434 Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I decided to use P.O. Box 3434 Port Harcourt instead of P.O. Box, bringing down Elelewo, because our post office box is in Port Harcourt, not in Elelewo. That is why I use Unibek College Elelewo. Then I wrote down the post office box, and then the town where the post office box is, and is in Port Harcourt. It's not in Elelewo, Rivers State. Then that is the sender's address. Then you write your date. Today's date is 10th June 2020. Full stop. That is your date. And this is the conventional way of writing date in a formal setup. If you write your date this way, this is June. This is the 10th June. Then you write your 20 up. If you will fail, you will not be having your full marks. You will fail because this is the conventional way of writing date. Remember, it is a formal letter, and as such, it should be formal. Everything you're doing should be formal. Otherwise, the person you're writing to may not read your letter. So this is the sender's address. Now you're writing to the principal of your school. The principal or the honorable principal. The principal, Unibek College, Elelewo. Hence is the same school. You might decide to stop there. Unibek College, Elelewo. You don't need to bring down the date anymore. Date. You write your dates once. Don't bring it down anymore because it's already there and it's one date, cannot change. So Unibek College, Elelewo, and now salute your principal. And the conventional way of greeting in formal setup is dear sir, if you know the person. If it's a woman, dear madam. If it's a man, dear sir. But if you don't know the person you're writing to, you just put your dear sir. And that covers that. Alright. After that, what comes next? Number 4 there says the title. The title of your letter. Like I said, we are writing to the principal of our school. You know, telling the principal or explaining to the principal the need to add certain things in our extracurricular program so that it will be effective in the school. So, what are you supposed to write? What's supposed to be your title? It is from this question that you extract your title. What I mean by extract is you read the question and in a sentence you coin your title. Write a letter to the principal of your school telling him about the need to add certain programs in our extracurricular activity. So how are you supposed to write it? Or what are you supposed to write? You now ask yourself, what am I telling the principal? What is the reason for writing the letter? The reason is to let the principal know that we need to add certain programs in our extracurricular activity. So the title should be the need. The need for the need to add effective programs to our extracurricular activity. or the need to revive our extracurricular activity, depending on what you chose. But your title should not be more than one sentence. Just in a sentence, write your title. The need, to beef up our programs in our extracurricular activity. The need to revive. The need to add this and that in our extracurricular activities. The need to showcase this or that during our extracurricular activities. The need for this, the need for that. So just extract the title and then write your title here. As you write your title, you underline it. Write it in special caps. Special caps is like what we have here. This is capital letter, this is small letter. This is capital letter, this is small letter. They are called special caps. So write your title in special caps and then underline it neatly with your meter rule. Underline your title. Let's look at this title. Alright. Now, these things you see me using my special cards to write, they are what is known as content words. In content words, they are words that can stand alone and give you a meaning. So you use your you use your capital letters to write those content words. Then you underline. Sorry, you are not. Sorry. You underline it neatly. Underline it neatly with your meter rule. Okay. Alright, you underline your title. After your title, then you go over to your introductory opening. How do you open your letter? How do you introduce your letter? You introduce your letter, you can introduce it in several ways, but one thing you should not do is to exchange pleasantries. You don't. Because it is assumed you don't know your principal. You only know your principal because of the fact that he's your principal. But you don't know him so close as to begin to exchange pleasantries. So what you do is to go straight to the aim of writing. So some people may begin with, I wish to congratulate you on your recent appointment as the principal of our noble school. I wish to congratulate you on your recent, let me maintain my margin. Always look at your margin. Your margin will tell you where to begin your paragraph. Okay? On your recent appointment as the honorable principal institution. Right. You can start this way. You can decide to start this way. Eh? If you start like that, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. You start this way. Eh? You have not really shown or exchanged pleasantries. Some people exchange pleasantries by asking, how are you? How is your family? How are your children? What if the man does not have a child and you end up reminding him of what he's trying to forget? So you shouldn't ask these questions. Just go straight to what you have in mind. So I wish to congratulate you. Then from here, you can go on. I am writing to let you know my opinion concerning extracurricular activities in the school. Then you now move to the body of the letter. From there, you proceed to the body of the letter. First, you may like to use some connectives. There are some connectives that are necessary for you to coordinate your paragraph. You can use first. You start by explaining what and what you think should be added in the curriculum to give your extracurricular activities a before. So first, you mention the things you want to. In this body of the letter, like I said, is where you answer the question. So go straight and start. What is your first point? You go on and tell the principal your first request. From there, you proceed to the second paragraph. You can use first, second, third, finally. You can equally use words like first, then you come over in addition. In addition can join another paragraph, maybe the second paragraph. Similarly, you can join, the third paragraph. And then in conclusion, you conclude whatever you are writing. But make sure that at least you make up to 3 points. Give the principal 3 points at least. Tell him about 3 things you need to add to the extracurricular activity to make the programs effective. So 3 points using 3 paragraphs. So from there, you have completed your write-up. Then the next thing you should do after them is the number 7, complementary closing. The conventional way, I call it conventional because there is no other way. That is the only way we know. The conventional way of closing the formal write-up is yours faithfully. And in your yours faithfully, the Y is in capital letter, but the F is in a small letter, and there is a comma here because you have not finished. Yours faithfully. When you now write, say yours faithfully, it is yours faithfully, not yours sincerely. Yours faithfully only. Then you sign your signature. Your signature comes before your full name. Sign your signature. If it is like this, sign it. And then your full name is Lerum Otika Dimpa. These are your names. You must put down your full names. Alright. So this is the way a formal letter should be written. If you write like this in an exam setting, I tell you, you will gain your marks. And like I said, the continuous writing exercise, either the letter or essay, gives you the highest mark. So you should concentrate on your grammar, your tenses, your construction, the way you construct your paragraphs, the way you connect them, that will give the reader. The reader must have interest to read your work. And sometimes it comes through the title. You must make sure that your title is catchy. That is, there must be something to attract the reader. Sometimes examiners, I have marked junior Y before. Sometimes when you want to read, sometimes the title will just, captivate your attention. When the the title captures your interest, you discover that you end up reading the whole stuff, even when you don't want to read. And when you read some piece, you are happy. So likewise, write in that manner, and you will be able to do a good job of your letter writing. So like we said, these are what we ought to know about letter writing. Probably in our next class, we're going to do a full-fledged letter, and then I will ask you to do something for me. But let me just give you one assignment before I leave. Let's see what you can do using the formats I have given you. Now, write a letter to your local government chairman complaining about the consequences of not resuming school on time, and suggesting ways of checking the increase of the epidemic Rivers State. Checking ways of reducing, suggesting ways of checking the decrease. Suggesting ways of checking the decrease of suggesting ways of checking the decrease or the spread. Let's say suggesting ways of checking the spread. Spread of the epidemic in Rivers State. So write a letter to your local government chairman complaining about the consequences of not resuming school on time and suggesting ways of checking the spread of the epidemic in Rivers State. Now, I think the person that should have this letter or should read this letter should be the Commissioner for Education, Rivers State. So let's change it. Write a letter to the Commissioner. It should be the right person to read. Write a letter to the Commissioner for Education. Rivers State. So write a letter to the Commissioner for Education, Rivers State, complaining about the consequences of not resuming school on time and suggesting ways of checking the spread of the epidemic in Rivers State. So just do this letter and submit it in our next class. Thank you and God bless.